Okay, thanks for the technical intermission. So, 3 parts of this. There is a sensitivity to design, a inclination, and a capacity. So, the ultimate goal of maker-centered learning is to inspire our learners to view themselves as agents of change in this world, to recognize that human beings, just like themselves, designed everything that we use. And there's nothing stopping our learners, nothing stopping you from being one of those designers too, from being somebody that can change the world. And so there's 3 legs of this chair. Agency is what I'm using to describe that feeling that you're empowered to make change. So the 3 legs of this chair are sensitivity, inclination, and capacity. Sensitivity means that you are aware of the opportunities to create change. Inclination is motivation. Inclination just means that you care enough about whatever this subject is that you want to engage in it. And capacity is ability. Are you able to do whatever you're talking about doing? So a simple example is riding a bike. Capacity for riding a bike is you know how to stay balanced and you can move. Inclination is you actually want to ride your bike. And sensitivity is being aware of when and where you can ride your bike. Are there laws preventing you from riding your bike? Is the weather bad? Do you have time? And if any one of these legs is missing, we are not going to take action or agency. If you don't know how, you're not going to be able to ride your bike. If you don't care about riding your bike, you're not going to ride your bike. And if you're not aware of where or when you can ride your bike, you're not going to ride your bike. That's a simple example, but we are going to see how that applies to many different areas, many different actions. All right, so Project Zero looked at these 3 legs of the chair and found that one of them was the weak link through research that pieced them apart. Inclination, the argument for that would be, and I'll share with you in just a second what that weak link is. But first I want to explore how these can be the weak link. For ability, maybe it's just students don't know how to do math. They don't understand. And so therefore they don't engage in actions that involve math. Sensitivity means that they are not aware of opportunities in their daily lives. Yeah, in the classroom, they know to take the test, but they don't know where in the rest of their life they can apply math. And inclination is, again, motivation. And so that would be, the argument for that one is that students don't care about math, and so therefore they're not going to engage in it in the real world. They're going to find reasons to avoid it. What Project Zero, Agency by Design, discovered was that the weak link, the most common aspect keeping our learners from engaging in meaningful action in the world, is a lack of sensitivity to design, or a lack of sensitivity to opportunity. They don't know when to apply this information that they're learning. They know how to do it. They care about it. They just don't know when to do it. So that's the problem. Sensitivity to design, sensitivity to opportunities is lacking. So that moved Agency by Design to think about, what can we do? How can we use education to develop this sensitivity to design, this maker empowerment? And there are 3 aspects of this. There's a cycle that involves 3 things, and not any one of these things is the starting point. They ebb and flow together. So the first one, I said there's no starting point, and then I start at the first one. There's looking closely, exploring complexity, and finding opportunity. Looking closely means slowing down and examining the object or the system, whether that is slowing down and truly looking at the design of a key and all the different parts of the key and all the different indentations and bumps on the key. It could also be looking at a system, looking closely at a system. So looking at a cafeteria line and how that line is structured. Does it bend? Are there stanchions involved? What are the societal norms about standing in line? And just slowing down and examining that. Exploring complexity is then looking at the interactions between all the different parts and all the different purposes of these objects or systems. And finally, finding opportunity is thinking about how you can become involved in that process. What opportunities are there for me to change that, to make it better, or to make it better suited for me personally? And these all work together. So what we're going to look at next are the thinking routines. These thinking routines are questions and activities designed to focus on one of these aspects of the sensitive design wheel or a few of them in combination. So the first one is, and one of my favorite ones to use, is parts, purposes, complexities. And I am going to need a group participation on this. So what we're going to do as a group is we are going to examine the device that you are using right now, whether that's a laptop, a desktop, a tablet, or an iPhone. What are the parts? That's the very first question. We're not going to worry about purposes or complexities yet. All I want right now is, as long as you don't have a very noisy environment and a dog barking behind you, it would be easiest for everybody just to unmute themselves. And then we'll just start throwing in together. So what are the parts of the object that you're using right now?
Screen, circuit,
charger,
Please.
mouse,
hot pocket,
Speaker.
external screen,
Logo,
wireless mouse,
Case. I'm on my phone.
cooling pad,
Camera.
microphone,
USB stick,
connection ports,
Wi-Fi,
Phone stand.
Okay, so fantastic. That's excellent, and that's exactly what I like to do in the classroom too. Looking closely requires the participants to slow down, allow those pauses, allow people to think and really start to examine. Because yeah, at first we're going to start naming off the very first things that we see, but then the longer we stretch this activity, the deeper we're going to dive, and we're going to start thinking about, like, oh, Wi-Fi is involved in this. Oh, the ear pods that I'm using are involved in this. You start thinking about the software that is underneath all of this, the invisible aspects of it. And so when I run this, I like to give it time. Okay, so the next one is purposes. So all those things that we just listed, what are the purposes of them? And they can be simple purposes. That's totally fine. And so, like, what is the purpose of a trackpad?
allow you to move the cursor and select items.
Yeah. And why a trackpad and not a mouse?
Because it's built into your computer and you don't need to plug anything else in. It's convenient.
Exactly. So now let's just start group participation again. Name one of the parts that we listed and share its purpose.
An external screen so that I can take notes and be in the Zoom meeting at the same time.
A microphone so I can speak to you.
Pop socket on my phone so I can hold the phone and take notes and be portable.
Mhm.
Camera.
Earbuds.
Yes. Mhm.
Earbuds so that I can hear you guys over my family's television.
Camera so we can record and see.
Exactly. So again, same concept. Take this slowly and encourage all answers on this when you're doing this with a group. And then the final one we're going to do for this thinking activity is complexities. So what complexities is thinking about the big picture. And so maybe that's how the different purposes interact with each other. Why is the camera up at the top of the screen rather than somewhere else? These are your why questions. These are the questions that you maybe don't have an answer to. Maybe you found a part that confuses you and you're not sure what that part's purpose is. That's a complexity. And complexities could also be thinking about what happens if a part is missing or if it was changed. So same thing, let's share out some of the complexities that we have found in this activity.
All the parts working help us to communicate with each other across space.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Without Wi-Fi, for example, we wouldn't even be able to be in this workshop today.
Mm-hmm.
A question might be is why the interruptions in Zooms are overloading of information when everyone's using it at the same time, like the masses. It's an unanswered question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Another complexity could be what is happening underneath all of this. Why does me pushing the L button make an L appear on my screen? And so if that is a question, one of the things I really love to do is to give kids screwdrivers and let them take it apart. Let them see the insides of whatever it is and truly explore all the parts and the purposes and the complexities.
I teach technology, and I would actually open up one of the PCs and let the kids see the insides and everything.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so we're gonna move on to one more thinking routine, and we're gonna skip this one only because I want to go to the final one. But this is exploring complexity, and so it again starts with looking at all the different parts of the object that you're looking at. Again, this could be a system too. It's all the perspectives, and so now we're thinking about like who uses this, who made it, who was involved in the design of this, who's involved in the effects of this, and then getting personal, how are you involved? So that is one for exploring complexity, and we are going to move into the final one, which is finding opportunity. And so how could we make the laptop more effective? And I want this to be big dreaming and encourage big dreaming. It's not saying like literally how can Clint with his abilities make it more effective? In a big dream kind of way, what could be done to the laptop to make it more effective?
Make it solar powered so you wouldn't have to find somewhere to plug it in to charge it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it recognize your voice and to be able to give it commands that way.
Mm-hmm.
And log in that way.
I'd like my phone to have like 2 little doors that open up with 2 screens on it, so I could have 3 screens and not have to keep going back and forth to watch this.
Yes, yes.
Huh.
Good. How could we make it more efficient? We'll give this one a little bit of time because it has overlap, in my opinion, with effective.
Be able to run an infinite number of programs at once without it getting overloaded.
Mm-hmm.
Get the battery to last longer so you can go a week, maybe 2 without having to recharge it.
Absolutely. What about ethical? How could we make the device that you're using more ethical?
Use renewable resources to make it, and make it easier to recycle.
Yeah.
Have it update itself rather than having to buy new models every year.
Mm.
Yeah, interchangeable parts that you can upgrade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about more?
Next.
What about more beautiful?
Parts that you could take off and replace with different colors and designs.
And I like how that relates back to the modular aspect that Conrad shared.
Mm-hmm.
Different shapes instead of just rectangles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
An idea to change the design, make it a little bit more hand friendly or.
Yeah, I love all this. Okay, so what I think is one of the most powerful aspects of maker-centered learning is that it creates very organic opportunities for interdisciplinary studies. And so in our ethical question, I think there's a lot of answers to that, but what our group happened to focus on was the ethics of being environmentally friendly. And so then we can take this and launch into an exploration of recycling and upcycling and resource management. Okay, so those are the 3 thinking routines that I shared with you now. There are a bunch, and so I'll share with you quickly. You can just Google agency by design, and I'll share this in the chat too. And they make all of their thinking routines free and available. And so here's Parts, Perspectives, Me, Think, Feel, Care. Imagine If, that's the one that we just did, and you can download these and use them. And then the Doosium, as you saw in the packet that was shared, offers various professional development opportunities, and maker-centered learning is one of the things that we'll do in that, among many other things. Let me try. I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so the big idea I want you to take from this is that maker-centered learning is not about technology. It's not about math. It's not about STEM. It's not about computer and coding. Maker-centered learning is about empowering kids to see themselves as agents of change in the world. And the way we do that is by encouraging them to be sensitive to the designed aspects of the world. And for an example, there's so many subjects that we can do with this. With parts, purposes, complexities, for example, you could analyze a passage from a book. Just give them a paragraph and let's look at the parts of that. Let's look at the purposes of that. And let's look at the complexities of that passage to explore literacy through a maker lens. You can study history that way. So many different things to ultimately make kids feel or make learners feel that they can change something. in their lives. We're at 10:30. I'm gonna cut it off here and pass it over to our friends at SAMA.
Thank you, Clint and Chris.
Thank y'all.
Isn't it nice to have the Duceum added this year? I think, you know, having to figure out how to do things remotely has a unique set of challenges, but this is one of those opportunities where we're like, hey, what better time to make this happen than now? So we're really excited that they were able to join this year.
And Carrie, before you jump in, I'm going to stop recording so that you can start recording.
And thank you for